All right, welcome to Packmates, a show about Magic the Gathering Limited, where we take a dive into current limited formats. The Packmates are a group of friends that love drafting, hanging out, and going to FNM to get them dubs. I'm Ryan, the resident aggro expert.
I'm Andrew, the mid-range expert.
I'm Robi, the Dirtle expert.
And we are the Packmates.
Got him.
Today, we are going to talk about our FNM draft, do some feelings, touchy-feely stuff.
With Robi.
With Robi, a little trophy deck analysis, some tips, and some underdrafted cards. Don't forget to follow our socials or join our Discord. Also, feel free to hit us up in the Discord. All the links are in the description. Today, we're going to start off our FNM recap with Andrew for the third week in a row.
Ooh, very nice. I wonder why I get to go first. Man, this was a pretty good week in the old Magic Minds again. Sat down and I was like, man, I'm gonna really keep open. And then, your first pick, Mishra's Command. That is the sorcery card that allows you to choose two. It's X and red, and so you can target player discards cards for X. Then they draw that many cards they discarded. Or you can deal X damage to a creature, or deal X damage to a planeswalker. That comes up very often. Not. And then you can give a creature plus X plus O, and they gain haste. Remember the haste part of that, because that's going to become up really big for you most of the time when you play that card. So I first picked that. And I knew right there I was going to definitely be red something. And then I actually took a bunch of artifact cards after that. I took the Scrapwork Mutts. That's the 2 colorless creature for the 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, you get to Goblin Picker, my favorite card from last set. The Goblin Picker ability is discarding. It's rummage is what they call it. Discard a card, then you get to draw a card, and then it also unearths for a red and a colorless. And so I picked up one of those, and I picked up a Blitz Automaton. It's the 7-cost 6/4 with prototype for a 3/2 for a red and a 2, and it costs 7 if you pay full price for it, and it has haste. And so the draft was going. I kept myself pretty open during the beginning of it, and then in pack 2, things just exploded like crazy. There were 4 excavation explosion, that is, that just went around in pack 2 straight up. Saw 4 of them. I passed one and I said, ooh, I should probably grab another. I'm going to grab another. The other one didn't come back, so I got 3. Excavation Explosion is also the one that deals 3 damage to any target. Important. And you can create a tap Power Stone, which was pretty nice because it went along with my third pack, Goblin Charbelcher. This is a oldie but a goodie. It's in the relics. It's a 4-cost artifact that you can tap 3 mana, and you tap it, and you reveal cards from your library until you hit a land card, and then Goblin Charbelcher deals that much damage to any target, actually, which is pretty cool. Non-land target for some reason. No, I'm just kidding. Any target. And then if you hit a mountain, double that damage. And so that was kind of my big finisher in this deck. It was a really cool low to the ground Boros deck. 1 drop, a bunch of 2 drops that were in that slot, and then just a slew of removal with Prison Sentence. That's the enchantment that basically pacifies something. You can't attack or block. Can't activate abilities. Actually, an arrest. Actually, and then it scries for 2. The deck was super solid. Really strong showing this week. I got a 4-0, and it was a good one.
I have a question.
Tell me.
With all that removal, did your bodies matter what they were? Or was it just fine that they were bodies? Like, did it literally matter what they did most of the time?
Well, I thought about our episode last week about all the cards that we ran down, and I really kind of was on alert for some of those things. And I just realized that I was going to pick up, just if I'm going to have a low creature count, I want them to be really impactful creatures, And
like Phoenix Vanguard.
Yeah, like Phoenix Vanguard.
Like Sardian Cliff Stomper. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't even know what that is.
Robi, on 3, let's say Andrew's most sus card of the week. Ready?
It's obviously
1, 2, 3. Sardian Cliff Stomper.
For sure.
I will tell you, that guy was instrumental in game 4 in the finals. Was it? Yeah, round 4. in the finals against my opponent, and I got that out on turn 2 and just ripped 4 mountains and just started attacking for 4-on-4.
4
on
out of
turn
your
4.
7 mountains.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Oh my
That's
god.
the fluke.
Yeah.
It was actually my most
That's the
sideboard.
fluke.
Yeah, I definitely took it out most of the time though. It was mainly just to spec against some other aggressive decks if there was something even more aggressive than mine.
He
And
has so much removal. That is obscene.
Yeah.
Like,
it was
This
definitely
is-
worth it. Huh?
like, what's the point of running 15 land? Like, land is better.
No.
Well,
If you listen to our segment last week about the Slim Fast plan, look at this chromatic star into the Mishra's desk.
Then I also have this. Genuinely.
I had no problem with mana. I think it was only one game, and I actually got flooded. It wasn't even just mana screw; it was flooding that actually got me in one of the games. It was the only game I lost, and it was because I flooded out. I couldn't believe it with the scrapwork mutts and with the star and all this other stuff. I still drew like 8 lands.
I feel like, I mean, for you to never get land screwed, you got fairly fortunate with 15 lands. Because I mean, you did have 2 mutts and a research or in that star, but that's not a ton.
Also, there was a
That's
secret,
slimming.
like little Mishra's command. I think I did it on 3 or something, and just discarded a bunch of good stuff to try to get the lands that I needed.
Yeah.
I think it did. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Mishra's command. How often is it kill a creature and buff your creature? Like
More
80%?
often than not. Yeah, that's about 80% of the time. I actually used the first ability to discard X cards and draw X cards in one of the games where I was kind of getting a little flooded. I had a couple extra lands in my hand, and then there was one where I did that one again. I actually did it twice this week, and then the other time was to search for a land that I needed. And then it was kind of cool because you could pitch all these unearthed guys with it, and so you get some extra value on that. Like Reconstructing Thopter is just solid. What a good card! It's a 2/1 flyer with unearthed for 2, and it's just solid. It just blocks everything in the air and just kind of does some little trading, and then you sneak it in there for the win.
Yep, it's Reconstructed Thopter super good. It's a 2/1 for 3 with unearth.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've come to the same conclusion as me about Warlords Elite. That's the 3 mana 4/4 that you can tap 2 other things when you pay for it.
Yep.
What do you like that card a lot?
Loved it. Thought it was good. Played it on turn 3 a lot of times with the chromatic stars and the desk and just the slew of 2-drops that I had. This guy was always down on turn 3.
Yeah,
and
he seems super good.
Yeah, I came around to him. I didn't think he was going to be very good, and then wow, has he surprised me? And then also that blitz automaton, man, that guy has done some major work for me. You can see there's kind of like I just have like incidental power stones here, and so I was powering that guy out on like turn 5 sometimes just by chaining Excavation Explosion.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it just makes me sad that this was just the nuts Boros deck was just handed over, I guess.
I mean, you gotta prep for these things, Like
I mean, was nobody in red or white? Like 3 explosions and 2 prison sentences and a static net? Like how?
I think there's a kind of a thing where people are valuing the creatures quite a bit more. And then so sometimes they'll let a removal spell or let something kind of go through the cracks sometimes thinking they're going to get it back. And then you can just kind of pick it up. So it's about good timing. But, I really value just the premium creatures sometimes. There were times where I think I took a really, was it that Scrapwork Cohort, the 4/4 or the 4 for a 3/1 that makes a token. I think I took that fairly early, like a pick 4 maybe. Over some removal.
It's one of the best commons.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Like it's way better than removal.
Yeah. I mean, it was better than like, I think I passed maybe like a prison sentence or something like that. And
prison sentences, that Scry 2 is just so good.
Oof, man. That's another way to fudge lands in this deck too, by the way. Just again, like I didn't have any trouble getting to 5 or 4. Like this, I was really surprised. I could have been as daring to go to 14, but I didn't. If I maybe had like another 1-drop that drew a card or kind of cycled through my deck or like a Mishra's Bulb or something, I might have done it.
Was the Strong Bull good in your deck? The 2/3 stuff?
It finished out a game for me one time, and it just applied just a ton of pressure just by him being there with the threats. Like you can kind of see with the mutts and a couple of the little Mishra's things. They have some incidental stuff there. but it was also good on the if you
You had
like
a ton
got the
of power stones too.
yeah, it had a ton of power stones. The reconstructing Thopter. I think at one point I just domed somebody for 3 with it by with the scrapbook cohort. You know, it's just like, okay, that just gave me a bunch of stuff. Returned it back 3, done.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. It was a really good deck. I could see why people I could see why this Boros deck is so good online and has been putting up the numbers. I mean, it doesn't take very much here. Like it didn't, I had like maybe 2 rares and they weren't like super like over the top, you know, like I win the game on the spot rares. Like though Mishra's Command did win me game on the spot.
Doesn't take very much, and you literally have 8 premium removal spells.
Yeah,
Like,
not much.
just draft the good removal, you guys. Like it's easy.
Yeah. I'm just a guy sitting at a table, you know,
just like everyone else.
like everybody else. I was just sitting there, you know, just crafting this beautiful deck.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, dude. Looks super
Yeah,
sick. You definitely wrecked me with it. Like Goblin Char belchered me for a ton, and Mishra's Command to steal one from me.
Well, you had some really fun plays. Tell me about your deck, actually.
My deck was just ridiculousness. It was white blue, and it wasn't aggro. It was like white blue kind of control late game. It had the Temporal Anchor, which is a 3 mana and triple blue artifact. And at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2. And then whenever you scry cards to the bottom, you exile them, and you can play the exiled cards during your turns. So you always just put them on bottom, and you just have a way bigger hand. You're basically drawing 3 cards every turn.
Oof.
And there's a ton of incidental scry, and that card is insane.
I was trying to wheel it.
Yeah, Robi was trying to wheel it. I was like, nope. I had that, and then I had like some shore up for like not actual the card shore up, but I shored up a bunch for aggro, and I just figured if I made it to late game, like I'd be better than most late game decks because. At that, I had Urza, Prince of Krug, that gives artifact creatures +2/+2, and you can make a token that's an artifact you control, except it's a 1/1 soldier in addition to its other types for 6.
Oh, wow.
And so that was super good. It's making like copies of anything that flied, or my 1/1 double strikers that drew a card that were actually 3/3s because of Urza. I had 2 Hall of Taxines, which is the filter land. It's the rare land, so you can tap it and add a colorless.
Yeah.
You can pay 1 and add a mana of any color. You can pay 4 and make it Power Stone. Like I never had time to make Power Stones. I made 1 Power Stone with it all night, but
really,
as I just was drawing so many cards and just doing so much.
Was the filter like the real secret good tech on that?
Yeah, the filter was super good. So basically, the filter let me play like I mainboarded Ashnod's Harvester. That's the 3/1 that colorless that you can flashback with 1 and a black, unearth with 1 and a black.
Yeah.
That exiles a card when it attacks, and it let me play which I don't have in here because I sideboarded it out this game. The 4 mana Phyrexian Rager. I forget what it's called in this set, but the Rager with Unearth.
Scrapwork Rager.
Scrapwork Rager.
Yeah.
So I played both of those, and I had Energy Refractor and 2 Hall of Taxines, and I just knew that like 90% of games I'd be able to unearth them if I needed to. And then I also sideboarded in Disfigure and Obliterating Bolt, and it probably would have been better to have in the main board just because I had 3 ways to fix. So like I should have just mainboarded those probably.
I would have.
Yeah, and Disfigure is -2/-2, and Obliterating Bolt's 2 mana for it's a red card that deals 4 to something and exiles it. But I also played Lay Down Arms a lot, which was kind of a tech that I put in to combat aggro and stuff. And that's the 1 mana exile something to the number of planes you control. It's not that hard to get like 3 planes and exile a 3-drop. Yeah, and they gain 3 life.
You had that in your sideboard?
I brought it in and out, so yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised that this wasn't main. That seems like a mistake.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, like after playing with it a little bit, I think so too. I only had 7 planes in the deck, but like 4 was the magic number. Would have been better with 8 planes probably because there's a lot of 4 drops you just want to exile. But 3 was fine. Had some prison sentences. I had some good rares. The 2/3 flyer that makes a 1/1 when it attacks for 3 in blue. The Urza. I had a Lauren that kills an artifact or enchantment when it comes into the battlefield, and both people can draw 1 if you tap it. Had the Combat Thresher, the 1/1 double striker, or the 3/3 double striker with prototype that draws a card. And then I had 2 Might Stones animations, and those were good on those, or the Levitating Statue. I did a lot of sideboarding though. I did do that, and that helped a lot.
Looks like this deck had a lot of customization that you could do, especially with the refractors and the hull. I find it interesting that your deck, like the blue, doesn't come in until much later in this deck, and I'm surprised. I wonder if were you ever like color hosed at all, like by having that even split on 7 and 7. It
Not
feels like
really. I had to have the
a little
islands
bit.
for the triple pip anchor.
Man, but you had the refractor, and I guess it cost a lot more.
Yeah, the anchor is just so much better on 6 than it is on 7 or 8,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it was good. I mean,
How were the Yoshin medic?
yeah, those are the 1/4 life linkers for 3. Those were like pretty good. They sideboarded in and stopped a lot of the ground aggro decks.
Yeah. Do you think 4 is? I feel like 4 is the magic number for toughness in this set.
Yeah, 4
think
felt real big.
You think Yoshin Medic is better than Airlift Chaplain?
I actually sideboarded the airlift chaplain out for Yoshin Medic. In my last matchup, and I just took a picture of my deck as it was when I was done with the tournament. So I had one airlift chaplain in over the Yoshin Medic originally, but the dude I played at the end had like a billion scrapwork cohorts. So Yoshin Medic and Survivor of Corliss came in to deal with that. That's the Corliss is the 1/1 first striker for one, and just like halted him.
It's kind of looking at your deck. It kind of looks like a deck where the Warlord's Elite is more of a 4-drop or a 5-drop.
Yeah, that's fair. It was definitely more of a 4-drop because you can tap a land and a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it looks like you had a lot of things, like in that lower slot.
Yeah, and I mean like all this stuff that I put my sideboard on here.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like a Vanguard, a Levitating Statue, an Airlift Chaplain, another Warlord's Elite, and a Stone Retrieval unit. Yeah. And I also had the Scrapwork Rager, which I forgot to put in the sideboard, but I had that. I just took it out because I didn't think that it would work against the aggro deck I was playing against.
Yeah.
But all that stuff was in my deck at some point too. So
I didn't even realize the Urza had more text beyond +2/+2 to artifact creatures.
Yeah.
Seen that
that's because you just literally killed it as soon as I played it every time. Like I played it on Andrew and I was like, boom, take 10. He's like, okay, kill it. Like, sweet.
I took 10 to the face so many times from this guy. It was crazy. I think I took a 10. I took a 9 or something. Just didn't care.
Yeah. The sickest thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
This dude played a Titania's command. He already had 2 dudes out, and he made 2/2/2s, and then he put 2 counters on everything. And I had like a 1/1 out, and I had just played my Temporal Anchor. And so he played 2 4/4s, and he had like a 3/5 that he put 2 1/1 counters on, and something else put 2 counters on. And he just smacked me for like 12 that turn. Because he also had Swiftfoot boots, so he hasted up one of the 4/4s. And I stabilized and beat him, and it was just insane.
Just off the back of the anchor?
Off the back of the anchor, yeah. Like, I think there was a ton of people watching the game because we went to time at the end. But I literally stabilized at 1 and got him in turns, and it was insane.
Jeez.
So anchor is just like the comeback king sometimes.
Should have let it wheel to me. I almost got it back. It went through like 5 people.
It's so good.
It was about to come right back to me. Then somebody had to get in my colors. I was cutting blue aggressively.
So this is how I got into blue. Pack 1, we were in a 6-man pod, by the way. So pack 1, I was like kind of white, and I was leaning towards Boros, white-red. But Mindstone's animation tabled once 2 of them. So I was like, whatever. We'll pick those up. And like, maybe we'll move into blue, but maybe not. We'll see what happens. And then pack 2 was Urza, Sky Strike Officer, Temporal Anchor. And I'm like, yep, we're white-blue.
Those are
Wait,
like
those got passed to you, or did you open the Urza?
He opened the Urza. I got past pick 2, the Sky Strike Officer.
Oh my gosh.
And then pick 4, the Temporal Anchor. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, we're doing it. So
who would pass the Temporal Anchor?
Robi.
Me.
Robi.
I was trying to wheel it. They almost made it back to me.
I don't think people realize how good it is. If we're being honest, like I
think people just see the triple pip and just like next.
Yeah. I took a card that was better than it, but it was a tough pick.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially in my deck. Yeah.
What did you end up taking, Robi? Tell us about yours. Unless you guys have questions. Yeah, tell us about yours.
I ended up in probably like the jankiest draft deck I think I've ever drafted in real life. Like I ended up 2-2, which is incredible. Like I felt like a feat was accomplished when I ended up 2-2 with this deck. So it might be like the most sussiest, sketchiest deck I think I've ever built. I ended up in mono blue, which is the worst color. Monocolored. It was incredibly sketchy. And I was basically my stones animation dot deck. I had 3 of them. The enchantment that makes something a 4/4 that Ryan talked about. I was the one trying to wheel them across the table. I was trying to get way more of them. I was sending them out into the wild. Ryan was taking them for no reason.
They ended up being
Yeah.
pretty good in my deck. 4/4
Yeah.
strikers on, or 4/4 double strikers on 4. are pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's good. That's good. I had Ivory Tower, which is a terrible, absolute garbage.
How many?
card.
How many?
3 of them. So, like, it gains you life equal to the amount of cards you have in your hand -4, which is terrible. That's such a trap, right? But like, I just kind of like saw him, and I was like, well, like I have to be aggro somehow. Like this is probably like the worst way to do it, but like in theory, I thought like maybe it could work in the early game to like give me a couple life here and there to get me to my Might Stones animation because my curve is absolute dog water. like like I've got the worst curve I think I've ever had. It's just like the opposite of what you want. like I have like mostly 5 drops. And like if you look at like the curve on Arena, like it's the opposite.
Oh my
like
god.
I've got a bunch of 1 drops, like a couple 2 drops, more 3 drops, more 4 drops, and more 5 drops. Yeah, like yeah, it was very sketch.
Like an
But
ascending staircase.
one thing
curve.
I did learn though is like this deck wanted to go second for sure.
I could see that. Especially with
sure,
those
like,
ivory
with
towers, man.
3 ivory towers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you really want to
yeah.
go second.
Like I was going first off the loss, and then eventually I was just like, dude, I just need to go second. Like that extra like couple life you gain just by going second, like having the extra card really helped out a lot.
You could like never mulligan, right? Like
Yeah, I would just die.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But it kind of worked though. Like I also had there was more synergy than like I was expecting. Like I was drawing 800 trillion cards. Was basically all I was doing. I had flow of knowledge, which was hilarious in my deck because I was mono blue. I was running 16 islands. So like, so like, I popped it off for like 8, 9 one time. Like it was crazy.
Did you ever do it in response to the tower trigger?
Yes, yes. Like
gosh.
on the instep, right?
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Like just to have like a million cards in my hand and gain like, yeah. And there were times where I had like 3 IV towers out at once.
Right.
Oh my
yeah.
Right,
goodness.
like, and I made infinity mana. I had a gilded lotus. I had the might stone. Gilded lotus just taps for 3 mana, and might stone's a disgusting bomb that can neg 5 something or draw you 2 cards. And then it's also a power stone that taps for 2. It's basically a soul ring.
Yeah. My stone is super good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was
It's
sick in
so
this
good.
deck. And then Psychosis Crawler, which was weirdly disgusting. It was like Shieldred in this deck. like, like there was a time I had a game where I played Psychosis Crawler, and then next turn I Flow of Knowledge for 8.
Oh boy.
like yeah, that was pretty gross. And at the top end, I had random Boulder Branch Golem gained you life. And I also had the Skitter Beam Battalion, which is what I took over the anchor.
Yeah.
Oh
that
man,
card's
the
good.
battalion's so good.
Yeah. It's 4/4 triple haste for 9 that makes 2 copies of itself, or prototypes for 5 to make 3 2/2s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prototypes for cheaper than Imperial Oath, and they have haste.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, you ready to defend yourself?
Yep.
We always talk about Andrew's sus cards, but time to talk about
This
your
is
sus cards.
cards.deck.
Okay, but
For sure.
did you really need Retrieval Agent, the 2/5?
Man.
That was actually a sideboard card.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I did. Honestly, just as a mediocre 4-drop, because sometimes if I didn't get my Bitestones animations off, my deck's doing absolutely nothing. I could have used more early game artifacts. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tokasia's Onulet. That's the 5-mana 4/4 that gains 2 life with Unearth for white.
Yeah, it's just a mediocre 5-drop.
Oh wow, I didn't even see that in there.
Yeah, that's a terrible.
Is it
drop.
okay to play mediocre 5-drops?
Oh my
if
God.
you have 3 ivory towers, why are you putting ivory tower in your deck if you're trying to play mediocre 5-drop?
But why you need a 5-drop that gains 2 life also?
I was trying to gain as much life as possible. It all mattered.
This actually seems like a decent Urkiel deck,
though, right? 4/4 is big.
A 4/4 is very big in this format. It blocks good. My plan was to just get a couple big dummies a couple random 4/4s on the ground and shore up my life totals with ivory towers to the flyers because I was never dealing with them otherwise. I had 2 removal spells. So yeah, I think it was okay. It didn't feel that bad.
I feel I don't know what you took over those Milestone animations pack 1, but if you had taken those and had 5 of them, I feel like that could have maybe made a pretty big difference in your deck.
I needed more early game artifacts too. Sometimes they would rat in your hand if you didn't have. There was a couple games where I had to cast on a Jalem Tome.
That's fine though, right?
Yeah, but it's not super ideal. I also noticed I casted a lot on the Mightstone a lot too, because I wanted it to die.
Oh yeah.
And bring it back.
Yeah.
I had that random repair and recharge. That was very sus, but that's a terrible card.
Yeah. Gets back
terrible
your battalion though, right?
What?
Gets back your battalion back though, which would be
insane. But battalion only makes a copy on.
Oh, if you cast it.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
It brought back Boulder Branch Golem, which is good.
Yeah.
And,
that's good.
Psychosis Crawler sometimes, and sometimes it brought back the Mightstone.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you the real question: Power Plant Worker or Onulet? If you could only have one.
Probably Power Plant Worker.
Okay.
It's more of a threat in the late game, right? It's bigger.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the? What's the other? Not the Power Plant Worker, but is it the Mine Worker or something? The one that adds a mana.
Yeah,
it looks like this deck just needed some kind of mana rock on that 3 slot.
Yeah, there wasn't one. There wasn't.
And no Power Stones either.
None.
Striking.
I wasn't seeing that stuff, so I was like, okay,
or
I'm gonna try to live in a world. I wasn't seeing it. Seeing it. So I changed gears. And was like, all right, if I'm not going to be able to ramp into stuff, I just need a turbo fucking dirtle. And I'm just I can wheel these Ivy Towers and I'll just be Ivy Tower deck and do nothing.
I can wheel these Ivory Towers. Oh my goodness. You're gonna wheel them.
This is very premeditated.
You're gonna wheel them. There's no way you're not
for sure I did wheel them. I wheeled every single Ivy Tower, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, if these Ivy Towers come back around, maybe, just maybe, I could just take everything that says draw a card and in these Mightstones animations, I'll have targets for my Mightstone animations. There was reasoning behind what I was doing, right? It wasn't completely random, but it was still terrible. But it was fun though. I had fun
Yeah.
playing it.
That's good.
It looked like it. I was telling people like it looked like Robi was having the most fun out of anybody, just because it
Yeah,
was it was a kind of
it
cool.
really felt like an achievement to get 2 wins with us. Like they were not easy wins.
How was the Elsewhere flask? Did you ever did you ever need to change to more islands?
No, but I definitely did it to like prototype the battalion and the
Oh, that's
repair
kinda
and recharge too.
Nice.
I cracked it a couple times.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
surprisingly. Yeah.
Do you wish you had a corrupt?
I probably would have put it just for the memes. like I was already committed, right? Like to fully memeing. Like I might as well have just run it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got to devote to the mean.
Yeah, like I never played Hercule once. I hate him, but he was just a random creature. He's probably insane in this deck.
Yeah. He
I
probably
have
would
a
have been.
smattering of random card types. Yeah, but that was all. It was pretty sus.
How did you
Dude.
close games?
Skitterbeam Battalion or Psychosis Crawler?
Seems
That's
about
it.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Checks out.
That's basically it. That's basically the only way.
And some 4
Like,
getting damage.
Some like I had a game where I did win off Mightstone animations.
Yeah.
Like that's another feasible. But like, yeah.
I found the animations are just so good with like little stuff with like keywords, like the double striker, the levitating statue, like
Ivory Tower.
Yeah, the little things. The little things.
No, but like it makes so like it helped me transition, right? Because Ivory Tower does absolutely nothing unless
Yeah.
you draw it like in your opening hand, you play it, you gain like 2 life a couple times, right?
Yeah.
So it usually gains you like 4 or 5 life, and then it's worthless. Like,
Yeah.
so then playing a Mightstone animation on it makes it less worthless, and
Yeah,
you
for
draw
sure.
a card, and you're actually kind of like turning it back on by drawing cards again.
Yeah.
So like it kind of had a little bit of synergy, but bad synergy.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's all I got on this. It was mega sketch. It was fun though. It was fun.
This set is fun, you know? This set's
I'm
just
having
fun,
a
I
good
feel
time in
like.
this set.
Not really. Not really. I take it that completely back. It's just an aggro set. It's basically just Streets of New Capenna.
Streets of New
I
Capenna
feel
was
like
pretty
it's
good.
not Street.
It was fun. Yeah, it is that level. like
I just did not have fun in Dominar United. Just didn't seem fun.
I
I'll
liked
be
it.
honest.
I mean,
That's
I
my
like
hot
I
take.
liked it
My
more
hot
than
take.
this.
Didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. Roby, you liked it though, right?
I liked it. Yeah.
I like them both, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Dominaria for now. But this one could get better. We'll see.
That's pretty good.
All right, Roby,
Alright.
what's up next?
All right, next up, I just have this is almost just like my little tip of the week almost, but not actually my tip of the week. But I just want to talk about artifact creatures and how I feel about them in my segment Feels Over Reels. And I feel that big artifact creatures just aren't good enough anymore.
Ah.
What do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I feel like some of them are. I feel like you got one definitely in the wrong category here, but you know.
Okay, so my big artifact creatures that I had were Ironclaw Crusher, which is a 7 mana 4/6, Rust Goliath, which is a 10 mana 10/10, or a 5 mana 3/5, Depth Charge Colossus, which is the 9/9 that costs infinity mana to untap, and Heavyweight Demolisher, which is the 7 mana 6/6, infinity mana to untap.
Okay.
Which one am I wrong about? Which one do you feel that I'm wrong about?
Ironclaw Crusher. It's very good.
Yeah, the Crusher's pretty strong.
It's kind of just a meaningless 7 mana creature
It's a 4 mana
But
4/5.
Yeah.
And it
That
buffs
dies.
something else.
that dies to more things than most 4 mana 4/5s do.
I mean, I don't know. Like
This is garbage compared to Baloth, right?
I mean,
It really is.
It's worse than Baloth, but like you could say that about 85% of cards, right?
It's worse because of it's worse than Bailoth because it's an artifact.
No, it's just worse than Bailoth. Worse than Bailoth because Bailoth's insane.
Ye-
Like
Well, like the
Ironclaw
fact-
Crusher last week with all my flyers was pretty sick, and with like a giant growth, and then you swing, and then you give something.
Okay,
+5,
but would
+0.
Ironclaw Crusher be better if it wasn't an artifact?
No, I don't think so. I think the fact that it's colorless is fine. Like, there's benefits to things being artifacts too, right? Like, you can get them out of your graveyard. They trigger things. Like,
Yeah, but like I feel like this one doesn't really like.
you can use
You're
your power
saying that
stones.
it's colorless, but it's only good as a 4-mana 4/5.
I mean, it's pretty good as a 4/6 too. Like, given anything +4/+0 when it attacks, it's pretty good.
I just don't think it's realistic to do that in this format.
To get 7 mana?
To get 7 mana and not die to a better deck.
Oh man, I
I
really
play a
wish we
random
didn't hurt ourselves.
4/6.
I think
This is
it's-
not an ideal 7-drop, is it?
I mean, 7 drops are just pretty easy to cast, I think. Like
Wow.
in green, right?
I
I
think
mean,
in
maybe not
green
in every
should-
deck, but
not in every deck. And that's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
I don't.
Looking at this, I was thinking back to our set review and like all the times we all thought, not even we, I don't know. There was a lot of Power Stone talk, every card that was big.
Yeah, Power Stones just aren't
They're not fast enough.
valuable enough to like ramp out bad creatures.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work.
You
And
just
like
can't control the board with these guys when you're trying to ramp
yeah,
out.
the fact that they die to everything ever, like red removal can kill Ironclaw Crusher.
people don't play that one card that often. I don't
They
think.
should. It's
I
okay.
tried it.
I don't think they should. Why
I
should
thought
they when Boros deck is like when Boros and white blue flyers like the best 2 decks? Why would you play artifact destruction main board, especially in best of ones?
Because it's mega free.
Yeah, but like
Like,
it's
Boros,
bad. It's
those
bad
2
against the
decks that you
best
just said,
decks.
those 2 decks are the best. Those are the ones who have all the artifact removal.
Yeah, but artifact removal is bad against the best 2 decks, is what I'm saying. Like, if you run into a Boros, what are you killing? Their scrapwork cohort and let them unearth it? Their mutt? Like,
I'm not arguing that Ironclaw Crusher is bad because no, Boros has artifact removal.
right, but it only has like usually 1 piece because like it doesn't need it because it needs to be good, like better decks,
Yeah.
especially in best of one. Like, it usually has
So
1
you're
piece.
you're
of
saying that
artifact
this card
removal.
is bad, right?
I'm saying that like artifact is not as big of a drawback as you think it is. I think it's
Yeah.
more of a benefit than it is a drawback. Because a lot of cards care about artifacts doing.
I
things.
think it's a benefit when it's a cheaper card.
I mean, the cheaper
I
ones
think it's a
are better,
massive,
for sure.
massive benefit.
Like all the
It
cards
is
you
a
put,
massive, colossal drawback to have your 10 mana 10/10 die to raise to the ground.
or
Like,
or
that's
disenchant.
Terrible. Yeah.
That's terrible. But you can't just be terrified of disenchant like and not play good cards.
Okay, but
You know
that's
what I
a
mean?
significant drawback with specifically the expensive ones, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Like if you're like if somebody disenchants your scrapwork mutt, do you care ever?
No.
No, that's insanely good because it's like a decent trade, right?
That's a bad trade for them for sure. Like
Yeah.
it's a 2-1.
Trade on
Yeah.
their side.
I don't think
Yeah,
people
but
are
like,
running
yeah.
around disenchanting scrapwork mutts.
All right, Ryan, look up the stats on Iron.
Already did.
Crusher.
Oh my
It's terrible, right?
Plus 1.6 when drawn. Rust Goliath is positive when drawn. Death Charge Colossus is positive when drawn. Heavyweight Demolisher is negative when drawn. But again, they are in worse colors. Like green blue is just worse than red white.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I think the
yeah,
other
I
thing
don't-
is you're just not getting the payoffs on these guys. Like when they come into play, they
Nope.
don't really do anything.
they have
Like,
to
that's why
survive
the
a
other one-
turn.
Yeah, and that's a pretty tall order to even just stabilize or to even have another turn when you play one of these things. They can get
So-
swarmed out pretty quick here.
I have noticed that the 1 mana white card that saves stuff and the Gaia's Might, the
Mhm.
Gaia's card that saves stuff.
Yeah,
I saw those in a lot of the trophy decks that I saw for the next.
Oh, they're
segment,
so
and I think
good.
that's why, yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
they're
the 1
really
mana
fun.
white one.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Lorwyn's, was it Lorcan something? called?
Lawrence, yeah.
It's good. It's good. I got blown out by it a little bit in one of my games this time. Thankfully, I had so much removal in my deck. I was able to just
Lawrence
like throw away.
Escape.
Yeah, I was
I
able
will,
to
I will
throw away.
say
removal.
Ironclaw Crusher does the most out of all the ones in the bad category, but I still think it's bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Like
think
it's not
it-
where you want to be.
like you don't want to play it if you're not in green. I'll concede that. Like you
Yeah.
definitely want to be able to prototype it.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Like-
then my other category is artifact creatures that do things are good. That
And if-
aren't just big dumb stat piles for infinity mana.
Do things when they ETB, right? Because that's
Yeah,
what
you-
all these do.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
But yeah, all
But
of
like
all of these you'd play
the
in any
cheaper
deck.
ones are better, like I think. But like obviously like the rares are insane, right? Like the mythic.
Yeah,
Oh,
Like
cities.
cityscape levelers obscene.
Yeah.
Ulamog's things and unearth for 8. So yep. But specifically the best ones, the common I think are probably Scrapwork Mutt and the Scrapwork cohort.
Yep. If the card says scrapwork, it's just good, right?
That's
Is there a bad Scrapwork card? There's gotta be one.
There's cohort, Rager, and Mutt. That's it. No, scrapwork cards are good.
What's the other ones?
The Rager, the four mana 2/2 where you
No,
draw.
Is
like-
there not a blue one in the
There's
cycle?
got to be a blue one.
No, there's only 3 scrapwork cards that I'm seeing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, Simulacrum's insane. The ape, the dabbing ape that gives +2/+2.
Oh yeah, that card's
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 4/3 for 3. That's
Yeah.
colorless.
Yeah, it's obscenely good. Yeah,
yes.
Boulder Branch Golem's good too.
Yeah.
He's good.
He's
He's
super
okay.
good. He's the only thing that gives green a fighting chance in today's economy.
Yeah, for sure. Like you would trade Iron Claw Crusher for Golem 1,000,000% of the time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
The only way I wouldn't is if I was in like green blue flyers, maybe. Like, and I would still want my
Which is
first
not a
golem.
real thing that exists.
Yeah, but like maybe,
Yeah.
a guy can
Neither
dream,
does Mono Blue.
A guy can
Like
dream.
I'm tripping.
like strapping on the
The
enchantment
Aeronaut
plus
Queen.
one. Yeah,
take
onto
flight.
the crusher. Yeah, take flight onto the crusher, and then also having another flyer. Like that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
That seems pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Yep,
That's
I-
my feels of a reels.
I agree for the most part, though. I don't know why I like crusher. I just like it, but
I don't
it
think
is
it's
in
good.
green. Like you have to be in green. And the other cards that you have that are good, like you don't have to be in their colors. They're just
Like if
fine.
you're like tabling this and getting this 10 pick, it's acceptable.
I don't know. It's just a solid 4-drop. Like it blocks literally everything, and then it swings for as
It's
a 4 or
double
5.
pipped.
Yeah, but who cares?
Okay, it's like okay. It's like almost playable as a 4-drop.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
concede that.
Okay.
Almost playable as a
Okay. You know,
4-drop.
however you want to say it, Roby.
It's unplayable as a 7-drop. But yeah.
Oh man,
It's good. At 7. All right.
it's 7. Oh boy.
All right. Tell us about some trophy decks, all right?
Okay, so I did some.
Let's get some
research this
reels
week.
over some feels here.
Yeah.
Or
I'm a numbers
data.
guy. Did some data dives. So I analyzed some trophy decks on Magic Arena, about 30 of them, and I only looked at decks that started off in platinum or higher, so plat, diamond, mythic. And I looked at the trophy decks and I put down how many creatures they had, how much removal they had, and some other stats we'll talk about in a minute. But first, I want to talk about the creatures and removal. So the average number of creatures was like 14.4. That was the mean, and the median was 15. So around 15 creatures. There were some low creature decks that kind of threw the mean down, but I'd say 15 is a good number to aim for. A little bit more is fine, a little bit less depending, but 15 is a good aiming point. Removal was the mean was 3.7 and the median was 3. So 3 to 4 pieces of removal is fine. Obviously, some outliers there. The lowest number of creatures in any deck was 7. The highest number was 20. The lowest number of removal in any deck was 2. So if you don't have at least, I don't know, there was one with a 1, I guess. But yeah, it was Boros because Boros can just do whatever it wants.
Yeah, that
Sounds
checks
about
out.
And the highest was about 8, which was Andrew levels of removal. So so there's that. And then I did an analyst on the number of each mana drops they had. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 plus. The average number of 1 drops was 3, 2 drops was 9, 3 drops was 6, 4 drops was 3, 5 drops was 2, 6 plus was a 1. The average number of lands ran was 16 because the average number of cards in the deck was 24. So that's about 18 3 and lower drops, with the majority being 2 drops in all these trophy decks. Interestingly, 16 of these trophy decks, of these 28 to 30 trophy decks, contain white. 7 contained blue. 9 contained black. 17 contained red, and 10 contained green. So red had the most, white, then green, then black, then blue. What do you guys think?
All right, so I just see all these numbers. What do I need to do, Ryan?
You need to run 15 creatures.
Okay.
At least 3 removal spells.
Okay.
At least 3. What's ideal?
I think 3 to 4 is ideal.
Okay.
3.
And then what do the rest of my cards need to be?
I didn't really focus on the rest of the cards. I just kind of focused on, but they're just cards that help you do whatever you're trying to do, drawing or buffs or saving your creatures.
So how many of those do I get? So I get
so you have 6 slots left to play around with, right? So you have 15 creatures, 3 removal spells, and you want some deck slimmers, you want some
veterans power blades.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. The biggest keys I would say is 18 out of your 24 cards need to cost 3 or less.
18.
Not obviously if you're in green that kind of changes things. Also, a lot of these decks, you guys can see it. The people listening might not be able to. If you see like a lowercase,
is that a splash?
That's a splash, yeah.
Okay.
So
wow.
So uppercase is the main and then the lowercase are splashes. A lot of splashes in these decks. Like I'd say there's 7 or 8 of them that have splashes.
It's pretty easy to splash in this.
Is that because of the 2-mana artifact that draws your card and filter?
Yeah, and they're playing the chromatic stars and
all
the stuff that filter. Yeah, it just makes it easier to do. Yeah, a lot of their other cards are those filtered down things. So yeah, and then red is the best, followed by white, and they're the best by quite a bit. And then it goes green, then black, then blue. And blue was only in 7 out of these 28 decks.
That checks out.
That is including splashes. So there's might only been 1 or 2 cards in one of these decks that's blue.
That checks out.
Notably, there's like 1 black-red deck, 1 blue-black deck.
Black-red's not good? I thought black-red was good.
Black-red's kind of mediocre, I guess. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just the day that I hit it on too. So I might add to this later and then, maybe try to add 30 or 40 decks before and look at it again and see. But it really didn't take that long. It took me like 20 minutes.
Oh.
But yeah,
no, so I like the graph.
Yeah, I made a graph, and it's the y-axis is the number of removal, and the x-axis is the number of creatures. Oh, no. So you can kind of see the outliers, and I'll put this on the YouTube. A ton of the things are stacked up around 14 to 16 creatures.
I'll put a dot where I'll put my deck on here too.
Okay. This is for trophy decks?
The trophy deck? Is it a trophy deck?
Yeah.
Actually, let me put my... I don't see any spot for 9 pieces of removal. Could you put a dot for me up there?
At 9 pieces of removal. How many creatures did you have?
10.
Andrew, I want to know how many creatures Andrew had.
I'll put a text box for. I'll put a big.
If I had to guess, Andrew's was like here. There you go.
There we go. Just so our dear listeners can see.
9.
But yep, that's what I got this week.
16.
I had less removal than Boros does.
And less creatures.
The old 16 creature, 9 removal spell deck.
Oh, let me move your dot a little bit, Andrew.
Look at that outlier.
9 creatures?
Outlier.
16.
16 creatures.
Yeah.
9 removal. Yeah, but like your deck trends, like if there's a line for this, right? It'd be trending towards that way.
Yeah.
Wait, you had 16 creatures and 9 removal?
Yeah.
So all of your cards were either creatures or removal?
Let's see.
You had Mishra's Research Desk and Chromatic Star. What are you talking about?
The other stuff is all removal, though. Like Goblin Charmelcher's removal.
Yeah, I don't think there was 16 creatures.
You had 15. That's what I'm counting. 15? Yeah, you had 15.
Oh, 15.
9. Yeah, like 7 pieces of removal?
Yeah, in this deck, in this version of the deck, which was probably like post sideboard or something, you only had like 8 pieces of removal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Nice.
Yeah, 8. So 15 and 8.
Oh, Goblin Charbelcher.
Yeah, Charbelcher in the net too. So you're actually like here. There you go.
All right, that looks better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put your name on there for you. I'll
Thank
just
you.
do an A. I got you.
Still pretty darn good.
I couldn't just put an R for mine because people might
Robi,
think
oh
that
my
I'm-
gosh.
No one will think
Yeah.
that you're Ryan. No one will think that that
Yeah.
was me. It's okay. No one would think that. So yeah, for new players, 15 creatures, 3 removals against aiming spot at least.
That's
I'd
pretty
say.
cool. I like that. That's a good.
Ryan, how many creatures did you have and how many removals supposed to
Had
be?
like
Let me graph you real quick.
okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 creatures.
Okay.
14
All right,
creatures.
I'm at the 14.
This is post board and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of removal.
You're like right in the middle of between me and Andrew.
Yeah, I'm like with all the other things.
It's like
So-
you did some data. It's
Yeah.
like you looked at the data and said, "What do I need in my deck?"
That looks a little try-hardy if you ask me.
That's what I'm here to do, Roby. I try hard every week. Speaking of try harding, we're gonna do just a tip. And my tip this week is sideboarding is important, and you should do it more, and I should do it more, and we should all do it more. It's okay to draft cards for the sideboard. Once you know what your opponent's trying to do, put in cards that are slightly better against it than the cards that you already have in there, and you should have some. So it's worth doing. People don't like to do it. People like to shuffle and go next, but it's going to up your win percentage, and that's what it's about. What do you got, Roby?
You don't always have to try hard. And sometimes you can just have fun and try new things, and it's fine. Like sometimes I don't know I know not everyone's like this, but for me, like it's almost more fun to like go with a terrible deck and just play Magic, right? Like I know
Yeah.
that's not for everyone, right? But like sometimes it's just fun for me.
He's
I
like
know
a
there are
good
other
skill
people like
tester.
that.
Try to make stuff work. That can be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, like play ivory towers and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's not good, but sometimes it's fun.
Come in, say you solved the format.
Sometimes it's funner to just
Oh
like
my gosh.
do a bad thing well and go 2-2 with the worst deck you've ever drafted. Sometimes that feels better than going
I can
first
see that.
with a try hard deck.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yep. So just have fun. That's my tip. It's not all about winning.
My
It's
tip.
like yeah, go ahead.
My tip this week, or for this segment, is going to be take time to review your picks between packs. I feel like we get so quick to just like open the next pack, and you get a lot of pressure from the people in the pod, especially if they're a little bit more advanced. But take that time. The time is built in there for a reason. And then arrange your cards and mana cost if you got that, just so you can kind of get a glimpse of where you're really going.
Yeah, I notoriously don't do that.
Make
at
sure you
all.
have 9 teardrops. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see your colors too, and just for your review, and just take that time. People are really accommodating about that, especially if you're new or just heck, even I do it all the time too. And that
Yeah,
I
no
probably
one's
don't
gonna
take
get
enough.
upset.
Yeah, I don't think I take enough time in between packs to really review and really get a good look at what I'm doing. So yeah, I'd say that.
Yep,
That's
sounds
tip.
good.
Do you guys go into packs knowing what cards you want in your deck?
What do you mean?
Like in between like pack 1?
Mhm.
Or like are you like my deck needs this?
Oh yeah,
Card.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I hope to see
Yeah.
this card or whatever.
I feel like I'm always doing that. Like in every single pack, I know what cards I need, right?
Mhm.
You guys don't do that? Like
Not all the time. Like I definitely like. There's some cards that I would hope to see, and if I don't see them, I kind of get a little worried. But every deck doesn't need certain cards though. Like Boros
Yeah,
doesn't
but
need certain
yeah.
cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those decks, yeah, for
like
sure.
most of the time, I'm just hoping like God. I hope I can find another piece or two of good removal or some 2-drops or something like that. Like it
Sometimes
is good to give yourself a goal going into the next pack.
especially when you're looking like if you're doing a deck that has like synergy built in, like the sack deck, you should really start looking to see like how many cards do I have that have sacrifice something on them, and then you take a real evaluation of that. That was something last week in the draft when I was drafting black. I was drafting black red. I started to sack, and it was around pack 2, and I started realizing, oh, I don't have any like enablers here. Oh, but I have all these draw 2 guys that I kind of picked up. Well, maybe I should be doing that instead. And then I moved in on that way. And it was because I took the time to really review.
Yeah, I think I just do it more contextually. Like I'll be like, yeah, I have like 2 trench stalkers. I need Jalum's Tome. Or I need like because it's harder for me to I just like super I guess not everyone does that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's another thing where you're just like, I see the synergies there, and I need to have more of that thing to kind of enable that synergy that I really want to have in my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like with the sack deck example you use, like make sure you know what your deck's trying to do, usually around the end of pack 1, definitely by the end of pack 2, I would hope. And make sure, like, look at it. Do I have things that I want to sack? Do I have sack outlets? Do I have sack payoffs? You know what I mean? Like, all 3 of those things are important, and that can be applied to a ton of decks, like the draw 2 deck or the, flyers deck or whatever, soldiers deck. Like, do I have soldiers? Do I have soldier payoffs? Does it matter that I have soldiers? Do I need to keep drafting things just because they're soldiers, or can I just draft good things? So I don't have any soldier payoffs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Give yourself a goal between packs. Maybe like I need to get this pack, or it's like I think that's a good thing to do. What do we got next, Andrew?
We're talking about cards that we think are currently underdrafted in the Brothers War draft. And so you can start it off with your first one, Ryan.
I think Desynchronize is kind of criminally underdrafted. I know Blue's Lore's color, but Desynchronize is just solid. That's a 5-mana instant. Target non-land permanents owner puts on top or bottom of their library. Scry 2. This card is just super good. Your opponent has to make a decision, usually at the end of their turn, whether or not they want to put, a card on top or bottom before they see what you're going to do on your turn. And, oftentimes they make the wrong decision. They'll put their rare 5-mana, 6-mana card on top, and then you'll play a bunch of cards, and then their card will be bad against it. I mean, Desynchronize is just good, and it's instant speed removal that deals with any permanent, which there's not a lot of that in this set.
A non-land permanent.
A non-land permanent.
yeah, that's true.
Not them pesky lands.
And you get a Scry too, which is solid too. So,
would you ever use it on your own creature?
Oh, maybe if I had the Skittering Battalion.
Yeah, that's
a tall order. Yeah, wow.
That's like the dumbest, cutest thing ever, but
probably not. If I had a lethal line with Skittering Battalion, but that's about it.
Yeah. That is facts. Like, I know the Skittering Battalion math now. Like I'm a believer now from tonight's deck.
What do you got, Andrew?
I've got Weakstone Subjugation. I kind of see these things kind of go around really late, and it's kind of that premium removal, I guess. If there's premium removal in blue, this might be some of that stuff that you're looking for there. And blue's really underdrafted probably because it's kind of weak right now. And but this one actually helps you get over that Boros hump a little bit as well, where you can really want these things kind of early. And like the Desynchronize too, Desynchronize gets you a lot of tempo, but this can actually just slow down the game. And maybe it gives you time to actually start building a strategy. But I thought this was kind of underdrafted. I see it go around quite a bit, and it goes around pretty late too, which was surprising.
Yep, that's the 1-mana enchantment that keeps stuff tapped, artifacts or creatures.
Yeah, I feel like it does have very bad matchups. So, there's some decks that just be weak.
There are vigilance creatures, right?
Yeah, vigilance creatures. You have the sack deck. You have the green-white deck. I think like, this is bad against green-white.
Like, is it that big of a deal if you put Weakstone Subjugation on their good thing and then they sack it? And, like, that's fine.
It's usually like the next cards like the next card we have coming up, like cards with like strong activated abilities. I think it really struggles against.
Yeah,
like if you're playing Weakstone Subjugation on a recruitment officer, your life is horrible.
Yeah, you're just doing it wrong.
Yeah, you
Well,
just-
like if that's the only thing that's beating you down,
They just play a
like
1-1.
okay, yeah, like obviously,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know what you're saying though.
yeah.
Sometimes you have to.
If it's just sitting on the board, like it's getting them so much value, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
The
sure.
other one is the like either of the green white or the red blue guy,
the uncommons.
the uncommon
Yeah.
signpost uncommons.
Yeah, weak zone subjugation is just a lot better against like big dummies or just
Yeah,
aggressive to save you some life total for the late
Yep.
game. It's not the end all be all hard removal.
yeah.
yeah.
Like 1 mana to not take a 4/3
It is hyper
Davin guy
efficient.
is
It's
good.
so
Yeah.
efficient. Yeah.
hmm
Yep. The next one we have up, my underdrafted card. And this card isn't really that underdrafted, but I still feel like it's like aggressively underdrafted. Like it's got like a 3.8 Asla, which is like Ryan, can you explain that? I don't
Yeah,
really
average last seen
know
at. So
what
you're seeing this pick 4 a lot of the time.
which is
Right.
obscene.
Yeah.
Like don't pass this. Like just suck it up, go into the white decks. Like it's obscenely good.
And what is it?
It's a 1 mana 2/1 that gets a creature with power 3 or less from the top 4 cards of your library for 4 mana. So
Mana
it's a 1 mana 2/1 that's very good late game too, which is
Yeah.
great. Like it's just so good.
Yep, it's 1
It's
minute
like the
2
best
1
one drop we've seen in a while.
gets in 4 damage and then
It's
sits
like the
back and draws 2
Ragavan of
cards.
limited.
Oh, wow.
It feels like it. Like it's like, dang, this is just gonna beat me up. Then it's gonna get a bunch of cards. It's not getting your cards, but
And then you kind of
Yeah.
feel like you need to use removal on it sometimes.
you
don't
do have
You
to
really
use
do.
it because like if somebody just sits there and just activates their recruitment officer a million times, like they're just getting so far ahead.
Yeah.
As a person who did that today, it
Yeah.
was pretty good.
What
Yeah.
pick did you get recruitment officer?
I took it as a second pick, I believe.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I needed it in the deck that I was building, and it's such
Yeah.
a good card. I had like a bunch of scrapwork mutts at that point too. It was like pack 3, and so
Yeah,
you know,
it's so good.
knowing that I had those mutts in the hand, I was like, oh, this is gonna be really.
Yep.
Yep. 4 is late on it. If you see it 4, it's a signal for sure.
Oof. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Please move in.
Yep.
All right, Roby, what's
So,
up next?
so I guess I have to introduce the alpha of the week one more time in a row. All right, go ahead, Andrew. Take it away.
Well.
Begrudgingly.
Oh yes, yes. The champ has returned yet again for another week. The reigning, defending, undisputed, three-time alpha of the week.
I would like to have this Goblin Charbelcher picture replaced with Sardian Cliff Stomper, please. For sure.
He actually did work though. I won a game off that guy's back. I couldn't believe it.
Then rep your boy. Rep your boy, Andrew.
Oh my goodness. But it was top deal 14 though with this Goblin Charbelcher. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so
Some
nice
people
to get
some people will play Goblin Charbelcher and then they pay 3 and then they just whiff and they hit a land at the top of their deck. Not
this guy.
Andrew. Not
this guy.
Andrew.
Not this guy. I had so much scry in my deck too. It was just extra good. Like I knew I was gonna at least hit 2. I did whiff one time. One time I did whiff because I only dealt 3 damage.
That's not whiffing.
It was all right. The creature lived, so it was a whiff.
Whiffs are zeros.
Oh man, I felt bad because I just dealt 3 damage for nothing. I could have went faces the place on that one, but no, this was a pretty good week again. You know, getting those 4-0s. It was pretty nice. You know, maybe one day you guys will understand like how good it is to get the ultimate win again. It's been so long. I know it's almost been a month-long reign. You know, but I might be taking a couple weeks off just to let you guys kind of get reacclimated to the set, and maybe I'll come back and show you guys what's
Andrew
what,
usually does good in the beginning. I get scary at the end.
Yeah.
I give Ryan a couple in the middle, but
it's been a while since we've seen domination like this. The dominance of 3 weeks in a row like
all
this.
the way back to Dominaria United.
Did you have 3 weeks in a row?
I think so.
I had a
Really?
disgusting 4-win deck the last week that we didn't get to.
That was one of the best decks I'd seen in that whole format.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
One of the most foulest 5-color domain decks.
I like that you guys are talking about all your yesteryears while the champ is just sitting around.
We got to right now.
All those times you guys were alphas,
Can we play a quick game? Guess the improvement when drawn on Goblin Charbelcher. Go.
19.
Hey, that's a good guess. Good guess. What do you think, Andrew?
Oh my gosh. Maybe like 15. I don't know. It's got to be high, right?
-7.4.
No way.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
It is.
Are you serious?
Yes.
The card was insane every time I played it, though.
What's its opening hand win rate?
42.9.
That's hilarious.
So is this card just bad and it was just so good in my deck that I got lucky?
I played it in a deck and it felt good too. I don't know.
I feel like
maybe
people
are just bad. I don't know.
Honestly, it's kind of a skill tester to play outside of a combo deck or outside of a deck where it's always going to hit. It's pretty tough to just kind of evaluate that, when to go to face and when to go to the creature.
It's pretty hard to say, I'm going to try to kill your 4/4. Oh, take 14 to the 4/4. Which is what you did to me. Like, how hard it should be to kill a 4/4 with this? Like, I guess not with mountains, but it should be like fairly hard to kill a 4/4. Like to kill 2/2s and X1s, easy. But to kill a 4/4?
To kill a 4/4 was pretty good.
I don't even know if I would try it. Like,
is its improvement when drawn worse than the Ivory Tower? Please tell me. Please tell me if I actually had a good matchup against them.
No, -10.2.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Oh my god. Are those the worst improvement when drawns?
That's so funny.
Dude, I thought it
Tower literally is that has enough stats.
I mean, Goblin Charbelcher does cost like 7 to really to do everything you want it to do. It's not like
it does anything though. like Ivory Tower does literal nothing. I think my last deck might be like the worst improvement when drawn. Like if you added them all up. I was playing the worst color. Ivory Towers.
Ivory Towers game in hand win rate 34.1%.
See, so I did a miracle. Right? I had a 50% win rate with 30% win rate cars. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, 3 of them.
Yeah.
Bunches and bunches, baby.
That's so funny.
These lost relics or whatever they're called in this set are actually they add some really kind of good chaos to this set. Like Robi with his triple Ivory Tower, me with the Goblin Charbelcher. Ryan, what'd you have?
Yeah, I had. Do you know how many relics I had in my deck?
It's like 0 relics in your deck.
You had like 5, didn't you?
I had 8.
Oh my god!
8 of the relic artifacts, like the mystical artifacts. I was like relics.deck. Like, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys can pull it together next week.
Yep, we'll catch you boys on the
Fuck you, Andrew.
Have a good week.
All right, take it easy. Bye.
All to you.